The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council sparkled with lights from 1,000 worlds. 7 different alien species sat around the massive crystal table, each one proud and powerful. They had ruled the galaxy for 50 years now, ever since the humans disappeared. Ambassador Kira adjusted her silver scales and looked at the holographic map floating above the table. Red dots marked all the empty human worlds. Dead worlds, they called them now. Places where no life moved anymore. The human territories remain unclaimed, said Supreme Chancellor Zixthu, his 4 arms gesturing at the map. We must decide their fate today. The other aliens nodded. Some wanted the rich mining worlds. Others desired the beautiful planets with blue oceans. All of them had forgotten to fear the humans who once lived there. They were weak, growled War Master Kethfol, his reptilian face twisted with disgust. The plague killed them all. Good riddance. Kira said nothing, but she remembered differently. She had visited Earth once long ago. The humans were not weak. They were clever and determined. But the plague had been terrible. It spread faster than anyone could stop it. The humans had gone silent, and everyone assumed they were all dead. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in tunnels and caves that stretched for thousands of miles, Commander Tejo stood in front of a massive screen. The screen showed the Galactic Council meeting. He could hear every word they said. "They think we're dead," he said to the woman standing beside him. Dr. Yuna pushed her dark hair away from her face and smiled. "Let them think that. It has kept us safe." Tejo looked around the underground city that stretched as far as he could see. Millions of people lived here now. Children played in the parks under artificial suns. Farmers grew food in vast hydroponic gardens. Scientists worked in laboratories that would make the aliens jealous. "The plague changed us," Yuna said quietly. "It made us stronger, faster, smarter. The aliens don't know what we've become." 50 years ago, when the plague hit, most humans did die. But some survived. Those who lived found themselves different. The disease had done something to their bodies and minds. They could think faster and see more clearly. Their bodies healed quickly and grew stronger. The survivors went underground. They dug deep into the earth and built new cities. They had children who were even stronger than their parents. They developed technology that the aliens had never seen. Most importantly, they waited and watched. Captain Jin Woo walked into the command center, his military uniform crisp and clean. "Commander, the fleet is ready." Tejo turned to look at him. "How many ships?" 3,000, sir. All equipped with the new stealth drives. The aliens won't see us coming. For 50 years, humans had been building ships in secret. They mined asteroids far from alien patrols. They developed new metals and energy sources. Their ships could move through space without being detected. They could strike fast and disappear like ghosts. "What about Mars?" Tejo asked. Jin Woo's face grew serious. "Intelligence says they plan to start terraforming next month. They want to turn it into a vacation world for the rich aliens." Mars had been humanity's first colony. Millions of humans had lived there before the plague. Now it was empty, but it still held the memories of human dreams and hopes. The thought of aliens turning it into their playground made Tejo's blood boil. "Sir," said a young technician named Haywan, "I'm getting reports from our spy networks. The aliens are also planning to strip mine Europa and Titan. They want to erase all traces of human civilization." Tejo clenched his fists. The aliens didn't just want the human worlds. They wanted to destroy everything humans had ever built. They wanted to pretend humans had never existed at all. "They're afraid of our ghosts," Yuna said softly. "Even thinking we're dead, they still fear what we might have left behind." In the Galactic Council chamber, the aliens continued their discussion. They divided up the human worlds like pieces of cake. Nobody asked if it was right. Nobody wondered if any humans might still be alive. "The Earth will make an excellent military base," said Admiral Vextar, his insect-like features clicking with pleasure. "Those underground tunnels will be perfect for storing weapons." Kira shifted uncomfortably. She had always believed that the humans deserved better, but she was only one voice among 7 species. Nobody listened to her concerns. Back on Earth, Tejo made his decision. He had been patient for 50 years. He had watched and waited while his people grew stronger. He had built an army in secret while the aliens celebrated their victory. But now the aliens wanted to desecrate human graves and destroy human history. "Send word to all the underground cities," he said to Jin Woo. "Tell Admiral So Young to prepare the fleet. It's time to remind the galaxy that humans are still here." Yuna looked worried. Are you sure? Once we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. They think they can erase us, Tejo said, his voice hard as steel. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The technicians began sending coded messages across the solar system. In hidden bases on asteroids and moons, human ships powered up their engines. Soldiers who had trained their entire lives for this moment checked their weapons. The aliens thought humanity was extinct. They were about to discover that humanity had not just survived. It had evolved into something far more dangerous than before. Above ground, Earth looked dead and empty. But beneath the surface, 50 million humans prepared for war. They had been patient long enough. Now it was time to take back what belonged to them. The galaxy was about to learn that the most dangerous enemy is the one you think is already dead. Admiral So-young stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the stars through the main window. Her vessel looked like a piece of floating rock from the outside. The aliens had been flying past it for weeks, thinking it was just space debris. Target acquired, reported Engineer Dong-hyun from his station. Alien supply convoy, 12 ships heading to the Kepler system. So-young smiled. Begin the operation. The human ships moved like shadows through space. Their new stealth technology made them invisible to alien sensors. They could phase in and out of normal space, appearing and disappearing at will. The aliens had no idea what was happening. The first alien supply ship exploded without warning. The convoy commander tried to send a distress signal, but the human ships jammed all communications. One by one, the supply ships disappeared in balls of fire. When it was over, nothing remained but wreckage floating in the darkness. Clean work, So-young said. Make it look like pirates did this. This was the fourth convoy they had destroyed this month. Each time, they left false evidence pointing to various pirate groups. The aliens were getting paranoid, suspecting everyone except the truth. On the planet Zerion Prime, Commander Zendar paced back and forth in his office. He was in charge of security for this sector, and nothing made sense anymore. Supply ships kept disappearing. Mining stations went offline without explanation. Even some of his warships had vanished without a trace. Show me the reports again, he ordered his aide. The holographic display showed dozens of red marks across the star map. Each one represented a missing ship or failed station. The pattern made no sense. Pirates couldn't be this organized. Enemy aliens wouldn't dare attack Council territory. Could it be the Veltari? The aide suggested. Sendar shook his head. They don't have this kind of technology. Nobody does. What he didn't know was that human ships were watching his every move. Hidden in the asteroid belt around his planet, 3 stealth vessels recorded everything. The young analyst Haewon sat in one of them, listening to alien communications. They're planning something big, she reported to Commander Tejo on Earth. I intercepted a message about Project Clean Slate. They want to sterilize all the old human worlds and remove every trace of our civilization. Tejo felt anger burn in his chest. It wasn't enough for the aliens to think humans were dead. They wanted to erase all proof that humans had ever existed. What's the timeline? He asked. 6 months. They're going to start with Mars, then move to the other colonies. They plan to turn our worlds into alien paradise planets. On another front, Engineer Dong-hyun was having fun with alien technology. His cyber warfare team had infiltrated alien computer networks across the galaxy. They planted viruses that made ships malfunction at the worst possible moments. Navigation systems failed during important missions. Weapons misfired during training exercises. Life support systems shut down randomly. The aliens blamed each other for the problems. The Zephyrians accused the Thoraxians of sabotage. The Veltari suspected the Crystalline Empire. Trust between the Council species began to break down. This is beautiful, Dong-hyun said as he watched alien ships crash into each other during a military parade. His virus had reversed their navigation controls at just the right moment. But the most effective weapon was fear. Human ships would appear just long enough to be seen, then vanish before the aliens could react. They left behind strange objects that the aliens couldn't understand. Sometimes they would find alien crews alive but unconscious with no memory of what had happened to them. The aliens started seeing ghosts everywhere. Every shadow might hide an enemy ship. Every system malfunction might be an attack. Their crews became nervous and jumpy. Some refused to go on deep space missions. War Master Kethval called an emergency meeting of the military commanders. Something is hunting us, he announced. Something we don't understand. That's impossible, said Admiral Vextar. We control this galaxy. There are no unknown threats. But even as he spoke, a message came in. Another patrol had gone missing near the Titan system. All 12 ships had simply vanished. No distress calls, no wreckage, nothing. In the hidden human base on asteroid XK-739, Captain Jin Woo was planning the next phase of operations. His pilots had been practicing hit-and-run attacks for months. They could strike a target and be gone before the aliens knew they were there. "We need to be more visible," Taeho told him during a secure communication. "I want them to know something is out there, but not what." Jin Woo nodded. "My pilots are ready. We'll start showing ourselves more often." The next week, alien sensors across 3 star systems detected the same thing. Ships that looked almost familiar, but not quite. They moved too fast and disappeared too quickly to get a clear scan. The few images they captured showed vessels that reminded them of something. But they couldn't remember what. Dr. Yuna was monitoring the psychological effects from her laboratory deep under Earth. "They're starting to crack," she reported. "Their stress levels are through the roof. Some of their commanders are requesting transfers to safer sectors." "Good," Taeho replied. "Fear is our best weapon right now." On the Council homeworld, Supreme Chancellor Zixthu was losing sleep. Reports poured in from across the galaxy. Missing ships, system failures, mysterious sightings. His military advisors had no explanations. His scientists couldn't identify the technology being used against them. Could this be some kind of natural phenomenon? He asked during a private meeting with his inner circle. "No," replied War Master Kethaval firmly. "This is an attack. Someone is waging war against us, but who? We've scanned every known species. None of them have this capability." The truth was right in front of them, but they refused to see it. The possibility that humans might still be alive never entered their minds. They had been so certain of human extinction that they couldn't imagine any other explanation. Meanwhile, Haywan intercepted another crucial communication. The aliens were planning to accelerate Project Clean Slate. Instead of waiting 6 months, they wanted to begin sterilizing human worlds in just 8 weeks. "They're scared," she reported. "Whatever's happening has them spooked enough to speed up their timeline." Taeho made his decision. Phase 2 had been successful beyond their wildest dreams. The aliens were paranoid, confused, and starting to panic. But now they were threatening to destroy human heritage sites out of fear. It was time for Phase 3. "Contact all fleet commanders," he ordered. "Tell them to prepare for full revelation. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity never died." In space stations across human territory, weapon systems came online. Soldiers who had trained in secret their entire lives prepared for battle. Ships that had hidden in plain sight for decades powered up their engines. The aliens thought they were being haunted by ghosts. They were about to discover that these ghosts were very much alive and very, very angry. The morning started like any other on the alien homeworld of Kepler 442b. Supreme Chancellor Zixthu was drinking his morning nutrition fluid when his aide burst into the room. "Sir, you need to see this," the aide said, his voice shaking. Zixthu followed him to the command center, where dozens of technicians stared at their screens in shock. The main display showed something impossible. A massive fleet had appeared around their planet overnight. Hundreds of ships hung in space like sleeping giants. Where did they come from? Zixthu demanded. "We don't know, sir. They just appeared. Our sensors show nothing. Then suddenly they're there." The ships were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. They looked almost familiar, but wrong somehow. Like memories from a half-forgotten dream. The hulls were sleek and dark, covered in strange symbols that hurt to look at. General Kyung-soo stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching the alien planet below. After 50 years of hiding, it felt good to be seen. His bio-enhanced body was stronger than any alien could imagine. His mind processed information faster than their computers. He was what humanity had become in the darkness. "Open a channel to the planet," he ordered. On Kepler 442b, every communication device in the star system suddenly activated at once. Television screens, computer monitors, even personal communicators all showed the same image. A human face looked out at the aliens with cold, determined eyes. Commander Taeho spoke slowly and clearly so everyone could understand. "People of the galaxy, my name is Taeho. I represent the human species. Reports of our death have been greatly exaggerated." The words hit the alien worlds like a physical blow. Across the galaxy, aliens stopped what they were doing and stared. Humans alive. It was impossible. "For 50 years you have believed us extinct," Taeho continued. "You were wrong. We survived. We adapted. We evolved, and we have been watching you. In the Galactic Council chamber, War Master Keithvol's claws dug into his chair. This is a trick. Humans are dead. I saw the plague reports myself, but deep down he knew it was true. The mysterious attacks, the vanishing ships, the system failures, it all made sense now. Humans had been the ghosts haunting them. On Earth, Dr. Bo-Ram stepped into view beside Tae-ho. She was a perfect example of what humans had become, taller than before, with muscles that moved like liquid steel. Her eyes glowed with an inner light that no alien possessed. The plague did not kill us, she said, her voice carrying across the galaxy. It changed us, made us better, stronger. We are no longer the weak species you remember. She demonstrated by lifting a metal bar with one hand and bending it into a pretzel. Then she moved faster than the alien cameras could follow, appearing on the other side of the room in an instant. Our children are born with abilities you cannot imagine, Bo-Ram continued. Our technology has advanced beyond your understanding. We have become something new. Intelligence Officer Wu Jin activated the psychological warfare protocols he had been preparing for years. Across alien space, their own communication networks began broadcasting human messages. The content was simple but terrifying. We have been watching you, the messages said. We know where you live. We know your weaknesses. We know everything. The effect was immediate. Alien civilians panicked. Their military commanders demanded explanations. Government officials locked themselves in secure bunkers. The careful order of the Galactic Council began to crumble. On his flagship, General Kyung-soo gave orders to his troops. Begin Phase 3 operations. Show them what we can do. Human ground forces had been hiding on alien worlds for decades. Now they revealed themselves. On military bases across the galaxy, human soldiers appeared like magic. They moved through alien defenses as if they weren't there. Guards found themselves unconscious with no memory of what happened. The humans didn't kill anyone during these raids. They didn't need to. They simply proved they could go anywhere and do anything they wanted. Alien security meant nothing to them. How is this possible? Zendar screamed at his security team. How did they get past our defenses? None of his officers had answers. The humans had technology that made their walls useless and their weapons pointless. It was like fighting spirits. Back on the Council homeworld, Tae-ho continued his broadcast. You have been dividing up our worlds like they belong to you. You plan to erase our history and pretend we never existed. This ends now. He gestured, and the display changed to show a detailed map of the galaxy. Every human world was marked in blue. Every alien military base was marked in red. There were far more red marks than the aliens had realized humans knew about. We offer you one chance, Tae-ho said. Return all human territories to human control. Stop your plans to destroy our heritage. Acknowledge that this galaxy belongs to humanity now. And if we refuse, Supreme Chancellor Zixthu found himself asking, though he already knew the answer. Tae-ho smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Then we will take back what is ours by force, and you will discover why the plague chose us to survive. The display changed again, showing human ships throughout the galaxy. They had been there all along, hidden and waiting. The aliens counted thousands of vessels, each one more advanced than anything in their fleets. You have 72 hours to decide, Tae-ho announced. Choose wisely. Humanity has returned, and we are not the same species you remember. The broadcast ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. On alien worlds, emergency meetings began immediately. Some species wanted to negotiate. Others demanded war. The Veltari, led by Ambassador Kira, argued for peaceful surrender. They're right, Kira said during the emergency council session. These worlds were theirs first. We have no claim to them. Nonsense, War Master Keithvol snarled. I don't care how they survived. We outnumber them 1,000 to 1. We can crush them with pure force. But privately, military commanders across the galaxy were not so confident. Their weapons had been useless against human technology. Their defenses meant nothing. How could they fight an enemy that could appear and disappear at will? The 72-hour countdown began. On human ships, soldiers checked their weapons and prepared for battle. They had waited 50 years for this moment. If the aliens chose war, humanity was ready to give them one they would never forget. In the underground cities of Earth, children watched the broadcasts with wide eyes. Their parents had told them stories about the surface world and the aliens who thought they owned it. Now those stories were becoming real. "Will there be fighting?" a young girl asked her mother. "Maybe," the woman replied. "But don't worry. We're not the same humans the aliens remember. We're something much more dangerous now." The galaxy held its breath and waited. In 72 hours, they would learn whether the new humanity preferred peace or war. Either way, the old order was ending. The age of human dominance was about to begin. The 72 hours passed like a countdown to doomsday. Across the galaxy, alien governments argued among themselves. Some wanted to negotiate with the humans. Others insisted on war. In the end, War Master Kethavol and his allies won the debate. "We will not bow to extinct weaklings," Kethavol declared to the Galactic Council. "Deploy all fleets. We end this human threat once and for all." What followed was the largest military mobilization in galactic history. 7 alien species combined their forces into a massive armada. Millions of ships gathered from across the galaxy, all heading toward Earth. The aliens were confident that sheer numbers would crush the human resistance. They were wrong. Colonel Ari watched the alien fleet approach on her tactical display. She commanded the defense of Earth's orbital space, and she was not impressed by what she saw. "Primitive formations," she reported to General Kyung-soo. "They're flying in straight lines like they're on parade. No tactical awareness at all." "Remember, they've never fought a real war," Kyung-soo replied. "For 50 years, they've only dealt with pirates and minor disputes. They don't know what combat actually looks like." The human fleet was much smaller than the alien armada, but size wasn't everything. Human ships could phase in and out of normal space. They could appear behind enemy lines, strike hard, and vanish before the aliens could respond. Tech specialist Namjoon sat in his command center, surrounded by screens showing alien ship systems. Over the decades, humans had learned everything about alien technology. Now he was about to use that knowledge against them. "Initiating cyber warfare protocols," he announced. Across the alien fleet, strange things began to happen. Navigation systems started giving wrong directions. Weapons targeted friendly ships instead of enemies. Life support systems shut down randomly, forcing crews to work in emergency suits. "What's happening?" Admiral Vextar screamed at his technicians.
"Why are our systems failing?"
His ship's computer answered him in perfect alien language. "Because we control them now. Welcome to human space." The real battle began when the human fleet dropped out of stealth mode. Where the aliens saw empty space one moment, hundreds of human warships appeared the next. The ships were sleek and deadly, covered in weapons the aliens had never seen before. "Open fire," ordered Admiral So Young from her flagship. Human weapons were unlike anything in the alien arsenal. Instead of simple energy beams, they fired concentrated reality distortions that could tear holes in space itself. Alien ships didn't just explode, they ceased to exist. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't lock onto human ships. The human vessels moved too fast and could phase out of normal space whenever they were threatened.
"It was like trying to fight smoke with clubs. Fall back,"
Kethavol ordered. "Regroup at coordinate 779. But there was nowhere to run. Human ships appeared everywhere at once. The aliens found themselves surrounded by enemies that could strike from any direction. Their massive fleet began to break apart under the assault. Colonel Ari led a squadron of fighters in a devastating attack on the alien command ship. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to pilot her craft through enemy fire without taking a hit. She danced between laser beams like they were moving in slow motion. "Target their bridge," she ordered her wing. The alien command ship tried to defend itself, but human weapons cut through its shields like they weren't there. The bridge exploded in a ball of fire, leaving the alien fleet without central command. Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, the aliens discovered that the planet was not as dead as they thought. What looked like empty ground suddenly opened up to reveal massive defense platforms. Weapons that had been hidden for 50 years emerged from their underground bunkers. The Earth itself had become a fortress. Every mountain might hide a gun. Every valley could launch missiles. The aliens had planned to land troops and capture the planet. Instead, they flew into a trap that humanity had been preparing for decades. Diplomat Yunji broadcast a message to the surviving alien ships. "This is your last chance to surrender. Lay down your weapons and you will be treated with mercy. Continue fighting and you will share the fate of your command ships." Some alien captains were smart enough to listen. They powered down their weapons and requested permission to withdraw. Yunji granted it, showing that humans could be merciful to those who showed wisdom. But War Master Kethval refused to give up. He gathered the remaining ships of his personal fleet and made a desperate charge toward Earth. "I will not be defeated by dead humans," he roared. General Kyung-soo watched the alien charge with cold eyes. "Show him what dead humans can do," he ordered. The human response was swift and terrible. A single human ship moved to intercept Kethval's fleet. It was smaller than any of the alien vessels, but when it fired its main weapon, the results were devastating. The weapon didn't destroy the alien ships. Instead, it did something worse. It turned their own biology against them. The alien crews found their own bodies betraying them, shutting down one system at a time. They died slowly, understanding at last what the plague must have felt like to humans. Kethval's ship was the last to fall. As his vision faded, he heard a human voice over the communication system. "You wanted to erase us from history. Instead, you've just become history yourself." The battle was over in 6 hours. The alien armada that had taken months to assemble was scattered across the solar system. Most of the ships lay dead in space, their crews either killed or unconscious. The few survivors were in full retreat, racing back to their home worlds with tales of human power. On Earth, Commander Taeho stood in his command center and watched the aftermath. His people had won the first major battle, but he knew the war was far from over. The aliens would regroup and try again, but now they knew the truth about humanity. "Send a message to all alien worlds," he ordered. "Tell them what happened here today. Make sure they understand that this is just the beginning." The message that went out across the galaxy was simple and terrifying. "The human fleet has defeated the Galactic Council Armada. Your greatest military force has been destroyed by a species you thought was extinct. Surrender now or face the same fate." On alien homeworlds, panic spread like wildfire. If their combined fleets couldn't defeat the humans, what hope did they have? Some governments immediately began preparing surrender documents. Others went into hiding, hoping the humans would forget about them. Ambassador Kira stood in the ruins of the council chamber and looked at the empty chairs where her colleagues used to sit. Many of them were dead now, killed in the battle or executed for war crimes. The old galactic order was finished. "Perhaps this is for the best," she said to herself. The humans were always better at running things anyway. In the underground cities of Earth, humans celebrated their victory. Children who had never seen the surface world asked when they could go outside. Parents who had lived their entire lives in hiding planned trips to other worlds. But in the command centers, human leaders were already planning the next phase. The galaxy was broken and leaderless. Someone needed to restore order and peace. Someone needed to make sure this kind of war never happened again. Humanity had returned to the galaxy. Now they would rebuild it in their own image. 6 months after the Great Battle, the galaxy looked completely different. The old Galactic Council was gone, replaced by something new and better. President Soo-jin stood at the window of her office on New Geneva Station, watching ships from a dozen worlds dock at the orbital platform. The morning reports. "Madam President," her aide said, placing a data pad on her desk. Soo-jin smiled as she read through the updates. Crime was down across human space. Trade was flourishing. Even the weather control systems were working better than before. Humans had always been good at fixing broken things. "Any problems?" she asked. "The Veltari delegation wants to discuss joining the Republic officially. The Zephyrians are asking for help with their food shortage, and Admiral Ji-hoon reports that the patrol of Sector 7 was completely peaceful. It had taken months of careful work to reach this point. After the war ended, the galaxy had been in chaos. Some alien species tried to fight among themselves. Others simply gave up and waited to see what would happen. A few planets descended into civil war. Humanity could have conquered everyone by force. Their military was stronger than all the alien fleets combined. But President Soo-jin had chosen a different path. Instead of ruling through fear, she offered partnership to those who wanted it and protection to those who needed it. Admiral Ji-hoon commanded the new Galactic Defense Force from his flagship in orbit around as the Red Planet was being terraformed again. But this time it would be done right. Human technology could restore the atmosphere in just a few years instead of centuries. "Status report," he requested from his bridge crew. "All sectors are quiet, sir," his navigation officer reported. "The patrol routes are working well. Pirates are staying away from our protected systems. What about the Outer Rim? Some minor disputes between the Thoraxians and the Crystalline Empire, but nothing serious. Ambassador Minho is handling the negotiations." Ji-hoon nodded with satisfaction. The Defense Force wasn't just about military power. It was about keeping peace and preventing conflicts before they could start. Human ships patrolled trade routes, protected smaller species from bullies, and helped resolve disputes through diplomacy rather than war. On the planet Kepler 442b, Ambassador Min-ho was indeed working on negotiations. The former alien homeworld was now part of human space, but the remaining alien population was treated well. They had their own districts, their own laws, and their own representatives in the local government. "We appreciate your patience with our cultural differences," said the Thoraxian representative, an insect-like being named Clicktar. Min-ho smiled warmly. "Diversity makes us stronger. The Republic has room for everyone who wants to live in peace." This was the heart of the New Order. Unlike the old Galactic Council, which had been dominated by the strongest species, the Human Republic was based on cooperation. Every member species had a voice, regardless of their military power or economic influence. At the research station on Europa, Dr. Da-Yoon was working on projects that would have seemed like magic to the old aliens. Her team was developing new technologies that could benefit all species in the galaxy. They had already created universal medical treatments and improved food production systems. "The atmospheric processors for Titan are ready for testing," her assistant reported. "Excellent. Once we get that moon habitable, we can relocate the refugee populations from the war-torn systems." Humanity had learned from their own near extinction. They were determined that no other species would face the same fate. Planets that had been damaged by war were being restored. Species that had been driven from their homes were given new ones. The galaxy was healing under human guidance, but not everyone was happy with the new order. In the Outer Rim, some alien warlords still refused to accept human authority. They formed small fleets and tried to raid peaceful systems. They learned quickly that this was a mistake. Colonel Ari led the strike force that dealt with the latest pirate incursion. Her ships appeared without warning around the pirate base, surrounding it completely. "This is Colonel Ari of the Human Republic Defense Force," she broadcast. "You have attacked peaceful shipping and threatened innocent civilians. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly. Continue your aggression and you will face the consequences." The pirate leader, a Zephyrian named Vexkul, sneered at the message. "I don't fear you humans. You're just as weak as you always were." Ari sighed. "Some people never learned." "Demonstrate our new pacification technology," she ordered. The human ships fired a single coordinated pulse. It didn't destroy the pirate vessels, but it did something more elegant. Every weapon on the pirate ship simply stopped working. Their engines still ran, their life support still functioned, but they couldn't hurt anyone anymore. "Your choice is simple," Ari continued. "Accept relocation to a rehabilitation planet, or drift in space until your supplies run out." Most of the pirates chose relocation. They would spend a few years learning useful skills and contributing to society. Some even became productive citizens of the Republic. Humanity believed in second chances, even for their enemies. In the capital city of New Geneva, President Sujin met with the War Crimes Tribunal. They were still processing cases from the old regime. War Master Kethval had died in the final battle, but many of his subordinates survived. They faced justice for their crimes against humanity and other species. The tribunal recommends rehabilitation rather than punishment for most defendants, Judge Namsu reported. They were following orders in a corrupt system. With proper education, they can become productive citizens. Sujin approved the recommendation. The old cycle of revenge and hatred had to end somewhere. Humanity chose to end it with mercy and wisdom. As the first year of the Republic drew to a close, Commander Tejo stood once again in the command center beneath Earth. But now the screens showed a very different galaxy. Instead of alien fleets preparing for war, he saw human ships maintaining peace. Instead of conquered territories, he saw willing allies working together. "Any regrets?" asked Dr. Yuna, who still worked on improving human capabilities. Taiho considered the question carefully. "I regret that it took so long. We could have revealed ourselves years ago and prevented a lot of suffering. But would the galaxy have been ready? Sometimes people need to hit bottom before they're willing to change." She was probably right. The aliens had needed to see their own failure before they could accept a better way. Now the galaxy was more peaceful and prosperous than it had been in centuries. Young Haywan, now a full commander in the intelligence service, brought the final report of the year. "Sir, the galaxy-wide census is complete. Crime is down 90%. Interspecies conflicts have decreased by 95%. Economic productivity is up 40% across all sectors. And happiness levels? Tejo asked, higher than any previous measurement. People feel safe and hopeful about the future. That evening, Tejo stood on the surface of Earth for the first time in 50 years. The sky was clear and blue, cleaned by human atmospheric processors. In the distance, he could see the lights of the first surface cities being built. Children were playing in parks under the real sun instead of artificial lights. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity was most dangerous when underestimated, but they were most valuable when trusted. The species that had nearly gone extinct had become the galaxy's greatest hope for peace and prosperity. Far beyond the galactic rim, strange signals had been detected. New threats might be coming from other galaxies, but humanity was ready. They had allies now, friends who would stand with them against any danger. The galaxy was united under human leadership, stronger than it had ever been before. The aliens had thought humanity was extinct. Instead, humanity had become something greater than they had ever been before. They were no longer just another species struggling to survive. They were the guardians of an entire galaxy, protectors of peace and freedom for all who chose to live under their protection. And if new enemies came from the darkness between stars, they would learn what the old aliens had learned. Humanity never gave up, humanity never forgot, and humanity never failed to protect those who trusted them. The galaxy was safe in human hands,